Action. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to our very first podcast.
Welcome to the Gig and Erika are kids these days.
Yeah.
Because kids these days was taken.
Yeah. How about we talk? We'll introduce ourselves a little bit, talk a bit about ourselves. Do you want to go first?
Sure. I am Erika McKittrick. I am the Erika part of Gig and Erika. And yeah, that's about it.
I'm Gig Morton. I am the Gig part of Erika and Gig, or Gig and Erika. Doesn't really matter which way we have it. I'm a professional actor. I'm 23 years old. You guys don't really need to know how old I am, but that's how old I am.
Fun facts.
Fun facts. Yeah. We've been wanting to make a podcast for a long time, so this is our first one. It's probably going to be a little bit unpolished because it is our first one.
We haven't even done a practice one, so
yeah,
we're just jumping right into it.
Yep. And we want it to be pretty casual, laid back, just for people to relax. And my voice almost just cracked right there. People to relax and just enjoy. We want to just talk about things that we face in today's society as kids. We're not kids, but you guys get it.
Kind of are the kids, though.
Yeah.
I still feel like I'm a teenager.
Yeah.
I don't feel like an adult.
Well, especially since our parents are the baby boomer generation. So one of the original generations to say, "Oh, kids these days," kind of thing. I'm sure it's not. But
so negatively.
Yeah, it is.
It's always "Oh, kids these days."
Yeah.
Those dang kids.
Those dang kids.
That's what we should have called the podcast.
Those dang kids.
Those dang kids.
Yeah, maybe we'll rename the podcast to Those Dang Kids.
Gig and Erika are those dang kids.
Those dang kids. Okay, well, we might as well just get into it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Our first podcast is about our celebrity encounters. We both feel this way, where we don't really we try and treat celebrities like real people, even if we've never met them. Try and think of them as real people.
But it's hard because there's such a huge celebrity culture where I don't know, they're just treated like these they're not people, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. There's some magical or superheroes almost.
Mm-hmm.
But we're lucky that we've gotten to work with people who are considered celebrities. I mean, I've even been called a celebrity before, and I think that's kind of dumb. I wouldn't consider myself a celebrity. But I've met people before where they're like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I'm meeting you." They don't know what to say. But then they're
starstruck.
They're starstruck. And then at the same time, I've met people where I felt that way, and I kind of compare those two experiences, and I think, well, that's not right. I'm not one of those people.
Well, and it's so weird because I always say, "Oh, they're real people. We should treat them as real people." I would never get starstruck. And then I see somebody that I look up to, or that I've seen in movies and stuff, and I just sometimes I just freeze. I'm like, "Oh my God, it's them,"
Yeah.
Because we're taught to think that way, I guess.
Yeah. And I guess it's just sort of I wonder if it's a biological thing where we see someone and we never meet them, and we kind of idolize them because they're so good at what they do, or they're so attractive. There's always something associated with them. And then when you see them in person, you kind of have that fight, flight, or freeze almost kind of thing. It's a weird reaction.
Yeah, it's almost like maybe they aren't real, when you haven't met them or seen them in person.
Yeah.
It's well, maybe they're like we were saying, not a real person, right?
Yeah, and people do definitely get caught up in that they're not a real person thing, because you see people treat celebrities like they aren't real people. They almost try to attack them, or they completely disregard their personal space or their sense of privacy.
Well, there's also the other side of it where people think because they've seen these celebrities in movies, or they listen to their music or whatever, they think, I know them, and I know so much about them, I'm their friend. And then they treat it like they should be friends even though they've never met this person. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because I don't want to say I've had that, but I've seen it where somebody expects to almost be involved in their personal life
Mm-hmm.
and be treated like either like a significant other or a best friend when you've never met this person before. I've seen that firsthand, actually. I'm not going to go into detail, but it's pretty scary, because then all boundaries are kind of put on hold almost, or
Absolutely,
like disregarded. Yeah. Anyways, so we'll talk about our celebrity experiences. I just wanted to talk about that because it's like, when I see a celebrity, like what I just said that, but we've seen someone on the street recently where, and I'll talk about it in a minute, but where we don't go up to them, we don't bother them, because
Yeah, we don't really. We've seen a couple people on the street, and unless it's, well, I mean, we'll get into it, but we don't go up and like ask for photos. It feels weird because, like, once again, you wouldn't go up to a stranger, like, say, like someone you saw on Instagram who was just like on your explore page, and they're not like, they have like 10 followers, and you saw a photo of them, and then you see them in real life. You wouldn't go up to them and ask for a selfie, right? It's just because this person is famous. Like, and I guess there's nothing wrong with it. I see it as a little weird because I'm in the industry, like we're in the industry too, and if
yeah, like I personally have no problem with somebody coming up to me and asking for a picture, or even just to say hi, because like I remember when I first moved to LA, I was at the grocery store, and then someone tweeted me, or I think tweeted me, and was like, "Were you at Ralph's in Cerritos?" And I was like, "Yeah, well, you should have come up and said hi." Because, like, in my opinion, it's a little, like, it's not, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's a little bit more awkward to tweet me after the fact. And, like, there's nothing wrong with that, but I like talking to people. So, I'm usually an extrovert. So, I guess that's just my personality. But
I always feel like I'm inconveniencing like people if I go up to them. Like, I don't know them. I feel so awkward. I don't know. Like, maybe it just depends on the person, but like I always just think they're a person and they have things to do, and
yeah,
they have a life.
You
right?
don't want to interrupt their life.
Yeah.
Especially, like, you don't know if everyone has personal stuff they're dealing with, so you don't know whether they're going through something at that time, right?
But also, like, I totally understand if they're like your idol. Like, for me, I love Lana Del Rey. I've loved her like ever since I was a teenager. And if I saw her on the street, I would 100% go up to her and ask her for a photo. So I guess it just completely depends on like who this person is. If you see someone on the street who's a celebrity and you're like, well, I don't like them, but it would be cool to get a photo with them to put on Instagram to like flex to all my followers, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of messed up.
It's also good to read the situation too, because
Yeah.
when Mr. Young was still really big, I was at a concert, and there was like a break in the middle of the concert, and someone recognized me and wanted to get a photo with me. And then before I knew it, like, all of a sudden there was like a lineup of people wanting to take a picture with me, and like that was a really weird experience for me, because I don't, it's almost like you don't want to have your ego experience that, but I think half the people thought I was, because what's his name, Cody Simpson was performing, and I think some people thought
you were him.
Someone turned around and said, "Are you Cody Simpson's brother?" I'm like, "You've been hearing me talk for the last like 10 minutes to these people. I don't have an Australian accent." But
So you think like most people didn't even know who you were?
I wonder, because it's that kind of mob mentality, right? You see one person who's getting a photo or an autograph from somebody, you think, oh, that person must be important. I gotta be involved.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't know whether that was what was going on, or people were like, oh, I really like Mr. Young, because there was one person who for sure I remember was like, oh, you were on Mr. Young, I really want to get a photo with you. But then when there's a lineup, I can't like talk to every single person. And then security was like looking at me going like, the break's gonna be over soon, you gotta wrap this up, this is like a safety hazard. And I was like, I literally said to them, like, we gotta stop doing this, let's just enjoy the concert. And people didn't really listen. But
yeah, well, I totally understand, like you said, reading, what was that?
That was a dog.
Reading the situation. One of the things that I wanted to talk about was we saw Blake Lively on the street, and it was when they were filming Deadpool 2, and she must have been here, like, obviously visiting Ryan Reynolds, or maybe not, maybe she's just having a vacation, who knows. But she was total incognito mode. Like, like hat on, like
sunglasses, sweatpants.
And like she had her kids like in like a double stroller thing, and they were like hat and sunglasses, you know? And I love Blake Lively, and I was like, oh my god, that's Blake Lively. Gig was like, is that Blake Lively? And I was like, oh my god, that's Blake Lively. Freaking out. And part of me wanted to go up to her and be like, hey, I love you as an actor. You're so good. I like grew up on Gossip Girl. But then I thought, she really looks like she does not want to be recognized. And like, it was busy downtown, and I was thinking, if one person goes up to her and recognizes her, suddenly there's going to be so many people. So it's kind of like, you got to pick and choose, like read the situation, like Gig said.
Yeah. Anyways, let's get into our own
for sure.
experiences. Do you want to start?
Oh, well, I just said something about Blake Lively, so you go ahead and say something.
So the first one I have on my list is I was flying from Sacramento to... Oh, no, I was flying from Sacramento to LA because I was visiting my mom in Sacramento. And just waiting to board my flight. And, like, I was in one of the last, like, groups to get on. So I was just, like, hanging back. And then all of a sudden, these people rush in because they're late for their flight. And it's this woman, I think a couple women. And then all of a sudden, I instantly recognize the dude, Jeff Bridges. And he was totally like he is in like movies and stuff. He was like kind of flustered, but still got that like cool vibe, like flowy vibe to him. And it was just like, my heart started racing because like not only is he like the dude, but he's Jeff Bridges,
such an
right?
icon,
he's such an icon. And then I'm just gonna tell this because it was funny because he was rushed. Everyone was rushed because the flight was literally boarding, and I guess they were late. And he's like, I gotta go to the bathroom. And they're like, oh, the bathroom's over there. And he basically walks into the women's washroom and then realizes he's in the wrong bathroom and goes across the hall to the other bathroom.
I don't think any of the women would mind.
No, I don't think anybody would have cared. I think all the women would have been like, okay, no problem.
That's awesome.
That was a cool experience. I texted you right away. I was like, I just saw Jeff Bridges.
Well, you were like, I think it's Jeff Bridges. And like, not even a minute later, you're like, it's Jeff Bridges. Like 100%.
And like, I'm pretty sure he was wearing like, you know, like flip-flop shorts, a t-shirt, like a kind of loose t-shirt, and one of those like wool cardigan things. It's like his classic outfit.
That's funny.
Yeah, that was a good one.
One of my favorite ones is Gig and I were in LA, and we were kind of having a bad day. I don't know if we were like, maybe we were fighting or something. I don't even know. But we were like, you know what? Let's just go to Santa Monica and like have a good day. So we went down to Santa Monica, and we're like, let's go down to the pier, go down to the beach, and we see there's like tents set up, and there's like the parking lot is all blocked off. And we're like, what the heck's going on? So we go down there, and there's like a film festival or something on, and
yeah, like we had no idea that this was going on.
Yeah, and like we were trying to figure it out. We saw, I don't know, like a couple people going in, and there was like crowds lining up like along where it was blocked off, and they were like freaking out and like cheering and yelling. Like there was like paparazzi yelling.
Yeah, there's like
names.
black cars lined up, like private cars.
And well, and then Ewan McGregor arrives on his motorcycle.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And then I see Eric Roberts, and people are like, Eric, come here. And he literally goes down the line, like, of the parking lot, like, where people are lined up, like, big crowds, and goes down and shakes everybody's hand and says hello to everybody. Like, I'm not joking. And, like, that was, like, I love Eric Roberts. I loved him in The Dark Knight. And I'm a big Batman fan. And so I was like, if he comes down here and says hi, I'm gonna ask him for a photo, like 100%. And he came down and like shook our hands, and we were like, hey, like I was like kind of like, Gig, you say something, because I was starstruck. I was like, oh my god, it's Eric Roberts. And so Gig was like, hey, do you mind if my girlfriend gets a photo with you? And he was like, of course, let's all get in. And he like puts his arms around us.
Yeah.
He was so sweet. And then there was this other woman who was like crying.
Yeah.
And she was like, I love you so much. And he was like, well, then let's take a photo.
Yeah.
And so she pulls out her phone and he gives her a big kiss on the cheek. And she was just like crying. She was like, thank you so much. And like that was honestly like the nicest thing I've ever seen. Because most celebrities, like, they love their fans, of course, and they take photos and stuff, but they don't go like personally say hi to like every single person. Like that's pretty rare. You can tell he really, really loves that part of his job.
Yeah, and I think anybody who's had any kind of recognition publicly has a little bit of fear of what could go wrong.
Yeah.
But I think you got to kind of have faith in just the goodness of people to know that if you have a positive attitude towards them approaching you and talking to you, that they're probably going to have a positive attitude towards you too. Mm-hmm. Sorry for that tiny voice crack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was cool. I mean, there was a lot of celebrities we saw
at that specific event.
Yeah. But none of them went down the line like that.
No.
That was crazy.
Yeah, because we also saw who else was there?
We saw Benicio del Toro.
Yeah.
People were yelling Oprah, but I never saw her, so I don't know if that was real.
Yeah. Well, I think we saw Oprah's friend.
Gail. Oprah and Gail.
But it's funny because like I don't really know much about that kind of stuff, and like your grandma's a big fan of like Oprah and Ellen and knows about all that. Because like I don't watch cable television most of the time, so I was like, Gail, who's Gail? Yeah. And then the other person that I always see, like, and last year I saw a couple times. I definitely saw her at LAX when I was just coming in, or I was picking up my mom. Kiernan Shipka. Because I remember that was just when the first part of Chilling Adventures of Sabrina was coming out. And, like, you auditioned for it. I auditioned for it. So it was kind of like we kind of had that in our sights. We knew about it. So I saw her at LAX, and then I'm pretty sure I saw her in the streets of New York, like, almost a year later.
Well, and we were just there for a week.
Yeah, like 8 days.
And then, like, just walking on the street, you just see somebody, that always blows me away. Like, that's happened a few times to us. Like, in Vancouver, we saw Elizabeth Mitchell. Like, when we first started dating, we were walking on, like, Robson Street or something, and she had this huge coat on, and I made eye contact with her, and I recognized her, and she just, like, her eyes went wide, and, like, she pulled her coat over her face, and I was like, well, I'm not saying hi to her.
That reminds me, I actually saw, what's her name? She plays Archie's mom.
Oh, Molly Ringwald.
Molly Ringwald. I saw her, like, right where we saw Elizabeth Mitchell.
Oh, yeah.
I saw her the other day when I was on my way to work.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's here right now, because they're filming, because Luke Perry passed away.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling that has something to do with it. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
But
so sudden, so sad.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to make that sound like a meme, honestly.
Another person who we actually saw Casey Cott from Riverdale on Robson Street as well.
Oh,
we were going to
we're going to Cactus Club or something.
And you were like, oh, that's the guy from Riverdale. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, that guy with the baseball cap that just walked by. He's a friend. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
That's the thing. I always see people in public, and I'm like, oh, that's so and so.
And I always have no idea what you're talking about. Well, you don't know names.
I don't know names, and for some reason, I remember strangers. I'll see a stranger on the train or something, and then like a month later, I'll see them again, and I'll remember who they were. Like, I'll remember where I saw them.
Yeah, we were on the SkyTrain, and there was this guy. I mean, he was pretty unique looking, but then like a couple weeks later, Gig's like, oh, that's the guy who was on the SkyTrain that time. I'm like, what? How do you remember that? So funny.
To be fair, I think in that specific situation, he had forgotten his bag, and I grabbed it, and I was like, hey, you forgot your bag. Or someone did.
So you had like an interaction with him.
It was like a memorable situation. You can call that a memorable situation.
The thing is, I've probably walked past a bunch of celebrities and not even known because I don't look at people's faces. I'm an anxious walker. I walk really fast, and I don't look at people.
I thought you were going to say, I'm an anxious girl.
I mean, yeah, that too.
Yeah.
But that was like, Chris O'Dowd did that, though. We saw him on Melrose in LA, and we were walking by, we were talking, and then we just, like, stopped talking because I saw him, and, like, once again, like, starstruck. I've only seen him in Bridesmaids, but my eyes go wide, and I see him, and his eyes go wide and he just like speed walks away.
Yeah, he looked like deer in the headlights,
Yeah,
and then all of a
like,
sudden,
he
like,
almost
don't
ran.
recognize. Like, I could hear the word "don't recognize me."
Poor guy.
Yeah.
That's like what if you start acting because you love it and you don't want to be famous, and then suddenly you're like launched into fame? Like, that'd be hard.
And you have like social anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks.
Or maybe he likes meeting people. It's just like he's having a bad day. Like, you never know with celebrities, right? Like, they're people too. They have bad days too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's like exactly what the next one I'm going to talk about is. Usually I don't talk about people who I've worked with. So these are all people we've just seen in public. This is a little bit different because I haven't worked with him, but I had the same agent as him for a little while, and he was actually the reason why I decided to sign with that agent, because I had gone to LA. It was like my agent in Vancouver was like, you've been doing well on Mr. Young. It's time for you to branch out and start being represented in the United States. So I went down to went down to Los Angeles and met with a bunch of agents and managers, and then my agent here was just like, okay, well, they're all pretty good, so take your pick. And I was like thinking it over, and then I went back to my hometown. I went to Comox, where I was born. My dad took me to like the sushi restaurant we've always gone to. We're just sitting there, and I'm thinking about it, and then all of a sudden Matt Frewer walks in, and I had also recently watched, it was like a mini series by Steven Spielberg called Taken, and I'm a huge like aliens kind of like abduction fan, so he was in that, and I really enjoyed his character in it, and I instantly recognized him, and I thought, well, he has the same manager as these guys that I'm thinking about signing with. So I go up to him and I said, hey, are you Matt Frewer? And he says, yeah. And then I said, well, I'm thinking about signing with your agency or your management. And he said, oh yeah, they actually emailed me about you the other day. And I was like, what? They're like, yeah, do you ever see him in Comox? And I'm like, well, now you do. And funny. So I took that as a sign, so I signed with them, and we actually had a pretty good relationship like that with that agent for a while. So it was a really cool experience, come full circle. Usually that's how I make, like, if it's a really tough decision, if something like that happens,
You look for a sign.
I look for a sign.
Yeah. You're pretty indecisive.
I am a very indecisive person, yeah. Yeah. Anyways.
That's okay, sorry.
Let's talk about my flaws.
It's not necessarily a flaw. It's
no,
just
a trait.
Yeah. But anyways, who else is on your list?
On my list?
Yeah.
Are you out of people to talk about?
No, I have a lot of people, actually. Okay. But, I mean, some of them you said we're not going to talk about people we've worked with, so maybe I won't.
Oh, no, I mean...
Like, because I have, like, Julia Roberts and Owen Wilson. I was in the movie Wonder. I mean, they cut, like, 3 of my scenes, but that's fine. Happens. No, I'm just joking. But, like, I guess I could just talk quickly about it.
Yeah, just talk about your experience, because they're really... Oh, excuse me. They're really big stars, right? And, like, even when we went to the after party, the interaction that I had with Owen Wilson was quite interesting.
Yeah. So on set, I think it was only 1 or 2 days that I was in a scene where we were on stage, like, doing a play, and Julia Roberts and Owen Wilson, Jacob Tremblay, they were all in the audience. And so, like, I'd see them, like, when we weren't filming and stuff. I mean, and when we were filming, but you know what I mean. And I was just scared shitless, like, honestly. Like, I was so anxious. I was like, holy crap, this is, like, I grew up watching Owen Wilson movies. I love Julia Roberts. Like, it was just, I was like, my mind was, like, blown. Like, when I auditioned for it, I knew that Julia Roberts was in it. I auditioned for, like, 3 characters before I got the role of Ella. And I knew that she was in it when I auditioned. And when I booked it, like, my first thought was, like, I'm gonna crap my pants. Julia Roberts is in this movie, And so when I was on set, at some point, like, I didn't go up to her and, like, introduce myself or anything because I was too scared. But, like, at some point, I was, like, walking up the stairs next to her, and she was talking to, like, her assistant or something, and I was like, come on, Erika, say hi, like, you can do it. but like she was just talking the whole time to her assistant. I didn't want to like interrupt, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It was so like awkward. So I never said hi. I was like, okay, you know what? At the premiere, I'll say hi to her then. It'll be fine. And in my head, like I'm in my trailer, I'm like beating myself up. I'm like, I should have said hi. I should, because like my grandma's a huge Julia Roberts fan as well.
Yeah.
And I was like, I should have like called my grandma and been like, here, talk to Julia Roberts. Like, it's the easiest thing in your head to be like, to talk to a celebrity. You know what I mean? Well, especially for me, like, I'm pretty anxious. And like, when it comes to talking to celebrities, I'm just like so scared. But I talked to Owen Wilson. I don't know how I got the balls to do that, but I couldn't talk to Julia Roberts.
That was in the you told me when you talked to Owen Wilson, it was in the lineup for lunch.
For tacos. No, it wasn't.
For tacos.
It was
it
hot
was just
snack.
like hot snack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it's easier to talk to people when there's food, though. Like,
yeah.
I find that's like a biological natural thing that we're like, when there's food around, it's just easy to talk.
Well, the thing is, I went to go get tacos, and we kind of like, it was like we got there at the same time, and it was kind of awkward, you know? And I was like, oh, go ahead. And he was like, oh, thanks. And then I didn't initiate the conversation. He was like, oh, so you from Vancouver? And I was like, deer in the headlights. I was like, what? I was like, yeah. And he was like, that's cool. And I was like, how do you like Canada? And he was like, oh, I love it. And I was like, cool. That was it. There might have been something else. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I like blacked out during it.
But he's one of those people that's like really genuine.
Yeah.
So. And
I was actually surprised because, you know, he's animated on screen, but he was actually quite like quiet and like reserved. I don't know, really, like when he was talking to Julia Roberts, obviously he was like they were like very animated together, but like waiting to film and stuff like that, he would just be like by himself. He was like content on his own, you know? He didn't feel like he needed to like make conversation with everybody, which I feel is like, as actors, I always feel that pressure, like when you're like waiting to film, to like make conversation with like the crew and like other actors and stuff.
Yeah, and it's like I've had it where I'll be sitting in the makeup trailer like on Mr. Young, and there's somebody who isn't usually there, like a guest star or something, and they come in and like I've heard where it's like they didn't even talk to me in the makeup trailer, right? I'm not trying to be a dick and not talk to the person. I'm literally like, how do I come across cool? How do I like not seem like a loser? And like I want to be friendly, but I don't want to be like intimidating too, because like I know what it's like to be on a show and come on, and there's like all these regular people and they have a way of doing things, and I'm just like there for the day. So
I have to admit, it bugs me a little bit if people don't say hi, like in the makeup trailer, if they just completely ignore you.
I've definitely
like,
learned that lesson.
But I don't expect conversation at all. I know you're like getting in the zone, like, you know.
Yeah.
I don't want to interrupt that, so
yeah.
I say hi, and if they want to talk, then I, you know, or if I have any questions, of course. But other than that, I try to leave like people alone.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like after you told me about how nice and Owen Wilson is in person, and then when we went to the after party from the premiere, I was like, I really want to get a picture with Owen Wilson, right? But then afterwards, I really regretted it because he was just trying to hang out with his family, have like a couple of drinks and just like relax. And then like after looking at the photo, I could tell he's just like putting on a face, right? And it's like, that's nothing against him at all. It's like, I totally understand when you're just tired, you're kind of burnt out at that moment, and you're just like, I got to take another picture. Like on top of that, like I do love taking pictures with people, but I can relate.
Yeah, I think that's another case of like read the situation. And I mean, at that point, it was like, I was thinking, oh, well, he knows me. Like, we can just be like, hey, can we get a photo? But like, why did I expect him to remember me? Like, he meets so many people, and like we had like a 30-second conversation, and that was about it, right? So probably doesn't even know my name. Probably didn't even recognize me. Like that's the thing. Like you meet a celebrity once, they meet like, oh my God, thousands of people.
Yeah. Anyways, do you have some? Well, you just talked about Julia Roberts and Owen Wilson. Should I do one of mine?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So I mean, again, it's like kind of not really worked with them, but had a more but Eric McCormick, he was at Project Limelight's like every Tuesday, I think they would have a panel of people and bring people in from Vancouver who work in the industry, so we can hear stories of professional stories and from the panel. Wow, that sentence flowed together really nicely. But you guys,
speaker here.
Yeah, you guys get it. So that was really cool. I'd go to those often because like you get to socialize with people who are in the industry and hear some stories.
We'll actually talk about Project Limelight a little later.
Yes. But anyways, it was really cool because I actually, like, I knew that Eric McCormack was on Will and Grace. He looked really familiar, but I didn't really know much about him. I didn't know he was from Vancouver, so I learned that. And then, like, we saw him at the airport, and that was really cool. And I think, did I say hi to him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I said hi to him, and he was very friendly and seemed like he remembered who I was because I think I got introduced to him at the Project Limelight thing. But it's always like that. I really like those experiences because they're not anything huge. They're like down to earth, and they really remind you that that person's a real person. You know what I mean? Like, he was at the airport, said hi, but it wasn't like it didn't feel any pressure. It just felt super casual and like relaxed. And I mean, that's kind of how when I met Debbie Ryan, Dylan and Cole Sprouse, and Matt Timmons, that could have been a really stressful situation because we were just starting Mr. Young. It was like the first or second week, and the writers of Mr. Young knew them and invited them to the set. So I don't know if they were in town filming something. I think so, probably, but they came and watched our live show and hung out with us and came to our first, once we had completed the first week, came to our party that we had at the Cactus Club afterwards, and they just hung out with us, and it was cool to see these people that I had watched on TV, like Dylan and Cole, and in particular, who I felt were kind of role models a little bit, to see them and just be completely normal people.
Yeah.
You know, to see that at 14 was educational, very eye-opening.
Yeah. Well, what I noticed, I mean, I don't really know if I'm allowed to talk about stuff like this. I do stand in on some shows that film in Vancouver, and Riverdale films here. And Cole, I've heard, I guess people like to trash talk him for some reason. They're I heard a story that, he was rude to somebody on Granville Street,
It's always Granville Street, though, right? That was the same thing with Shia LaBeouf. I doubt that story because, it was TMZ.
Yeah.
But he got drunk and, punched some guy. But it's always on Granville Street.
Well, and, so I was kind of, prepared for people in Riverdale to not be very nice. Cole Sprouse was, the nicest person I have ever interacted with on set because he, I stood in for him for a scene because I don't know, they needed another stand-in or something. We don't look alike. He's 6'3" or whatever. But anyways, and he was he came up to me. He was thank you so much. And people just so you know, standing in for people, actors don't usually thank you. They're just the first AD's okay, thank you, second team, you can step out, and then the actors go in.
Yeah, they kind of don't really interact.
Yeah, you don't usually interact.
On Mr. Young, it was different because we all hung out. And sometimes the actors would run the scenes with the stand-ins if certain actors weren't available, they were in a fitting or getting their hair and makeup done. But we were all friends. We would all hang out. I still, I'll see somebody who worked on Mr. Young working another job, and I'll hang out with them and talk to them, and even if it's not even an acting thing, we all work in other industries because it's hard to make ends meet, but I see somebody working at a restaurant or something, I'll say hi and give them a hug and be how you doing, right?
I just thought that was crazy because I'd only heard one story that he broke a CD or something on Granville Street if somebody was busking. I don't even know if that's real. That sounds fake. I
think there is definitely a certain percentage of those stories that you hear that are 100% BS.
But that's the thing. In our culture now, somebody can make up a story so easily and post it on Facebook and everybody believes it, right? Especially about celebrities. We hold them to this standard of because we can't ask them personally because we don't know them, we just assume that everything's true. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if it was your friend, if you heard the story about your friend, you would get their side of the story too. So I just feel it's a little weird.
Yeah. Okay, talk about some of yours, because I think I actually only have one left.
Oh, well, I really want to mention seeing the Kardashians at Disneyland.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was so funny. We see this group of women, and they're wearing wigs and sunglasses. They're being led around by, tour guides and security.
And security, they have, the first thing that I noticed was there's like these people standing around, but then there was like a perimeter of dudes like all looking proper with their arms crossed, standing around, kind of like scanning the area. I'm like, what the heck is that?
And my first reaction was, oh God, look at that. And Gig's like, be funny if it was the Kardashians.
Yeah.
And the whole day, we didn't, like, we saw them a couple times, or we just saw them mostly that one time, I think. They were, like, walking behind us when we were going to one of the rides.
Well, I didn't know they were walking behind us.
I knew they were, but I was like, I looked at them, and I didn't recognize them at all.
Yeah.
And they had a bunch of kids, and I didn't recognize any of them. And it wasn't until we got home. I used to follow Kourtney Kardashian on Instagram. I looked at her story, and we were in her story. Like, when they were walking behind us, she was taking a video of... There was like Beauty and the Beast or something?
Yeah, it was the Beast and Belle.
And we were in her story on
Yeah, we were like
Instagram.
clearly right beside.
It was the weirdest thing I
Yeah.
have ever seen or ever experienced. Because if you had told me it was the Kardashians at, like you said, like it'd be funny if it was the Kardashians. I was like, it's not the Kardashians. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. They just seemed like totally normal people. I thought maybe they were like YouTubers or something, you know, because Kim was wearing this like long blonde wig and sunglasses. Didn't even look like her at all. They were wearing like baggy clothes.
They're all so much shorter than you think
tiny.
them to
They're
be,
like 5
which
feet.
is like okay for me because like I'm not a tall dude. I'm 5'6", right? And that's a big insecurity of mine, especially when it comes to acting, because like when you do an audition, one of the first things they ask you to say is your height.
Yeah.
So it's always like a worry of mine that I'm not tall enough for this or that, right? But then seeing these people who are world famous and successful, they're like short.
Yeah. Well, it was crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that. And we saw somebody else that day too.
Oh, I don't remember.
No, I can't remember who it is. I have bad memory.
I always feel like Disneyland's actually a pretty good place to celebrity spot, because
absolutely.
everyone goes to Disneyland and it's like, yeah, some people get like special treatment where they get, you know, a private tour guide or whatever, but we all share the same space.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's always so many people there. Like, chances are,
Yeah.
at least one person there is. Well, especially like how easy it is to get. I guess maybe not how easy it is, but how common it is to become like Instagram famous or like YouTube famous, right? Like, I think it was like Jenna Marbles or something recently said that like 10 years ago there was like 5 channels or something that had 1 million followers
That were viral. Like
Yeah.
that's 1 million was considered viral.
Oh, absolutely.
And now 1 million is just kind of like you can only be viral on one platform at a time.
I mean,
almost.
look at PewDiePie. He has almost 100 million subscribers.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And now there's like, she was saying, there's like 1,000 channels that have 1 million. I mean, I have a bad memory. I already said that. So
Yeah.
I could be totally off of what she said. But, you know.
I mean, that's the thing
it's a
is
huge difference.
also like including like social media personalities and stuff. One person's celebrity is not a celebrity to somebody else.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So like, you know, sometimes we meet actors, even not just people who are famous on the internet, but actors who we consider to be celebrities, but
Oh,
not everybody would know who they are. Like, we're big fans of Battlestar Galactica, and it was really big when it came out, but now not everybody knows who some of the actors are. Like, we
Well,
went
like
to
Tomo.
Tomo, that's what I was gonna say. Well, we went to an event in Los Angeles that was meant for Canadians, and we meet Tomo Pennicott, and he played which character was it?
Hilo?
Hilo, yeah. He played Hilo, and like we love that character on Battlestar Galactica.
I mean, we love everybody on
we
that
love
show.
everybody on that show, yeah. But we were both like starstruck when we saw him.
Well, and that was another case of like, read the situation, because I was like, I need a photo with him because like my dad's a huge fan. I want to send him a photo, and I just like, I love the show, right? And I want to have this photo with him. And so we were like, excuse me, like, you mind if we take a photo? And it was like, it's an event where like you're going there and you're like networking. You're not taking photos with people who you consider famous. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
kind of unprofessional of me. I shouldn't have done
No,
that.
I don't
but
think so. Half the people there were like, let's get drunk and celebrate that we're actors, you know? And I always have trouble with those kinds of things because it's just kind of like, you know, I'm doing this and I don't want to consider myself special because I'm an actor, you know?
Yeah, I understand that. Well,
I thought he was pretty cool about it.
Okay, well,
I think he
that
just
makes me
looked
feel better.
tired, to be honest. And I think some people, they go to those things and they're like, they just don't have the energy to be social, you know?
Yeah, well, and like, not every actor is an extrovert, you know?
Exactly.
Some people, like, I mean, me. I'm not an extrovert.
I mean, I think I heard a story. I don't know how true this is. I heard this in acting class, but I heard a story about. Now I just lost her name. Australian, blonde, been a famous actor for a long time.
Nicole Kidman?
Nicole Kidman. I heard that Nicole Kidman, when she gets offered a movie, she goes off and hides somewhere. And her family has to go find her and convince her that she can do it. Because every time she has kind of like a bit of a breakdown. It's like, I can't do this. I'm not capable.
It's me.
Right? And I think we all have those insecurities.
Absolutely.
But the thing is, when it comes to celebrities, we think, oh, they're so great. They must know it. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. We, like, put an ego on people. Even
Yeah.
if they don't have one. We're like,
Yeah.
oh, they're so full of themselves just because they're famous.
And that brings back, like, the stories. Whether you know they're true or false.
Yeah.
Right? So...
Well, I think I just kind of have one more.
Okay, yeah.
Or I guess I have two more. I saw Jay Farrow recently. I was doing photo double on something, and I was getting hair and makeup done, and he was in the hair and makeup trailer. And he was so nice. Like,
He said hi?
He said hi. Like, we were talking about, like, he asked what generation came after millennials, which I'm pretty sure is Gen X. He didn't believe me, but...
No, it's Gen Z.
Oh.
There's X and Y, and those are, I don't know, 80s and 90s? No, never mind, that's millennials. Don't quote me, because obviously I don't know what I'm talking about.
But he was like, I don't think you're right. And I was like, okay, then don't ask me.
Yeah.
But then he was talking to, like, the hair and makeup people, and he's just going, like telling jokes, and, like, I mean, I know he's a comedian, obviously. But it was just, like, so refreshing, because... Like, I feel like most celebrities, like I said, like, hair and makeup, it's kind of like a place where you, like, prepare. So I don't expect people to talk to anybody else, right?
Yeah.
Like,
well, and, like, a mentor of mine got the privilege to work with Robin Williams and said he started out his day completely quiet with not saying anything, and then at some point in the morning, he'd say a joke, and it would be terrible. It would be like the first joke of the day, and it would be really bad. And then he'd slowly warm up, and by like 11 o'clock or noon, he'd be like making every single person on set laugh, and he was in the groove. It was a warm-up.
he was so
Yeah,
special. Jeez.
Saw a picture of him on Reddit today when he was holding his daughter, his baby, in 1989. And I was
saw
just
a
thinking,
photo.
that man is just magical.
I saw a photo last week of him and his daughter Zelda, like, sitting on the couch playing on their DSs. It was
I remember.
so cute.
I remember when that ad campaign came out.
He was when I first started acting, I had one thing on my acting bucket list, and that was work with Robin Williams. When he passed away, that was just like, that was heartbreaking for, like, I think most of the world. I think everybody enjoyed Robin Williams at some point.
Yeah.
He was such a special person.
I think he was a part of a lot of people's childhoods too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. Do you have anything else?
I have one more.
Okay, let's try and make it a positive.
It is. It's not directly... I didn't meet her, but when I was a teenager, I was a huge fan of Iggy Azalea, and I bought tickets for her concert. She tweeted that her tour was all ages, but it was at, the concert here in Vancouver was at a 19-plus venue, and I was 18. And I was kind of nervous I was going with my best friend, and we were like, okay, we're just going to try to go in, you know, and we get to the door, and they're like, ID? We're like, frig.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, well, we'll be back, you know, and then I, like, was crying, and my best friend was like, don't worry about it, let's just, like, sell the tickets, and then we'll try to get in, like, we'll go to the back alley and just listen to the concert from outside. So we did that, and the concert hadn't started yet, and we were just sitting, like, there's, like, a back door to this venue, right? And Iggy Azalea's stylist comes out, Allie, And like I knew all about everybody who worked with Iggy Azalea because I was like a huge fan. And she was like, "What are you guys doing out here?" And I couldn't talk to people, so my friend Caitlin was like, "Oh, we got tickets and we thought it was all ages, but they wouldn't let us in because we're underage." And she was like, "That's ridiculous. I'm gonna get you into the meet and greet." And we were like, "What?" So she goes back in, and Caitlin's like, "Don't get your hopes up." And she comes back out and she's like, "Well, the meet and greet just ended and we couldn't get you in. I'm so sorry, but we're gonna get you autographs." And I was like, "Okay." Like I didn't really know what was going on. I was like, "What the heck?" So she's like, "What are your names?" So we gave our names. She comes back with autographs from Iggy Azalea, and she's like, "Sorry, couldn't make it in. Like, thank you so much for coming." And then like her hairdresser comes out, and like her dancers come out, and they're all like talking to us, and like it was just crazy. Like even though we didn't get to see her, we still like experienced the concert. We could hear it from outside, and we got to meet all these people. Like it was crazy. And then Allie, I was wearing, I put on this outfit that was like inspired by one of Iggy Azalea's early music videos, and Allie was the stylist for that music video, and she was like blown away. She was like, "I can't believe you wore this." So she took a photo and put it on Instagram, and I was so shook. Like I couldn't sleep that night. I was like jittery, like, oh my god, it really made my year. That was crazy.
That's a really cool experience.
Yeah.
You know? Even though you didn't get to meet like the person that you're hoping to see,
yeah.
you almost got like a personalized treatment.
Absolutely, yeah. It was so sweet. She spelled my name wrong, but that's fine. I don't care. It was just so nice of her to actually, because most people, I feel like, they'd be like, "Okay, well, you should have read the rules or whatever." But the thing is, I guess because she had tweeted saying it's all ages everywhere at every show, right?
Yeah.
So she was probably a little pissed off too.
That's the venue's mistake, but
yeah.
Anyways, maybe we should wrap it up.
Yeah. You don't have anything else?
No, I don't have anything else. I actually really enjoyed. This was a cool podcast. Like I'm excited to make more. But before we end, we want to try and have a thing at the end of every podcast, whether we ever become sponsored or not. It doesn't matter. We're still gonna do this, so we're gonna shout out something. Erika.
Yeah. Gig really loves this. That's not a charity. What do you call it?
No, it's a nonprofit organization.
It's a nonprofit organization. We thought every episode of the podcast, we were going to shout out something that is special to us. And this episode, we decided on Project Limelight, which we mentioned earlier. Project Limelight is a nonprofit performing arts program that offers kids age 8 to 15 a safe space to build an artistic community and to create usually musicals, right?
Plays or musicals, and oftentimes they bring in people like me. I've volunteered for them, and we teach them a little bit about the film and television industry, and
they have workshops with professional actors, dancers, performers, and this is all at no cost for the kids. And they provide nutritious meals and snacks to the kids at every workshop and rehearsal, and they do this all for free. They're a nonprofit, right? That's why we wanted to shout it out. And if you guys are interested in donating, you can go to their website. It's projectlimelightsociety.org, and there's a support button, and all donations you can get a charitable tax receipt, just so you know.
Yeah. And so if you guys want to help us out, that would be great too.
Yeah, instead of donating to us, we would love it if you donated to them.
Yeah. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening or watching if you're watching. This was so cool. I'm excited to make more. And I hope you guys enjoyed. All right. See you guys next time. Okay?
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.